Hello readers and writers, I'm MJ and today we're doing my September TBR. So once again for September I'm using my wheel of TBR to determine what books I'm going to be reading for this month. And the first prompt that it selected was a book set in a location you've always wanted to visit. I just want to state that this did not specify the location had to be on Earth, and so for this prompt I'm reading Some Desperate Glory. This is a book set on a space station in outer space in our solar system. I have always wanted to go into space in our solar system, so it absolutely counts as that prompt. This is a Lumicrate edition. It's supposed to be queer sci-fi, which is like my favorite subgenre ever, and so I'm really happy to finally pick this up. This book is about Kyra, who has trained to avenge the destruction of the planet Earth. And so she was raised on the Gaia station alongside the scraps of humanity. She's one of the best warriors of her generation, and the sword of a dead planet. But then, instead of getting assigned to fight, she is assigned to, they assign her brother, who is then, I guess, not a warrior, and then she's taken to the nursery to go bear children. So really excited to read this book. It's been highly anticipated for me since it's come out, and this book is absolutely gorgeous, so I can't wait to hopefully fall in love with it. The next book is a book with a strong female protagonist, and while the last book would definitely qualify as that, I did pick The Borrow a Bookshop Holiday, which may potentially be an interesting choice for this prompt, but I picked it because I think sometimes the everyday female hero kind of gets forgotten when we talk about strong female protagonists. I read a lot of urban fantasy that has like warrior-ish, like, you know, the last book had, but The Borrow is about a, so it's about a bookstore that you can go and borrow and run basically for your holiday. And this book is about specifically Jude Crawley, who like had everything going for her. She just graduated as an adult from the university. She's in a relationship, and then her relationship kind of falls apart, and so she kind of goes to this bookstore to take a break from it all. And I think recognizing that this kind of regrouping and moving forward in life is another example of being a strong female, and so that's why I picked up The Borrow a Bookshop Holiday for this prompt. Also, this is an unplugged book box. I've yet to read any of the ones that I have gotten, and it is stunning. I have had to pause my unplugged book box for the foreseeable future, because I just have had to make some choices, but I do really love this book box and enjoy it, and would still highly, highly recommend it. The next prompt is a book recommended by a booktuber or a bookstagrammer. And for this I picked Gods of Jade and Shadow, and this is a book that has had all the hype a while ago and it's kind of died down, but I still haven't read it. It's still been sitting on my bookshelf, and I couldn't tell you like who hasn't recommended this book. Of everyone who's read it, I've heard nothing but great things for it. And so when I was looking at my shelf and was seeing like this is the one that absolutely popped out at me as having all this hype, and yet it's still been sitting on my shelf. So I'm excited to finally pick this up, and hopefully we'll love it as much as everybody else has. So this is about a young woman who is a Mayan death god. and it's inspired by Mexican folklore. So a young woman, Cassiopeia Tun, accidentally opens up a box and frees a god, and that sets her on an adventure full of what looks like a lot of magic. So I am really excited to actually pick this up, and I'm really hopeful it's going to be a 5-star read for me, as well as like almost the entire other bookish community. If you haven't liked this book, or if you have, let me know in the comments below. The next prompt is a classic novel you have not read before. And I think classic novels can be taken so many ways now. I think as an American society, we tend to think of classic novels as like only Charles Dickens or like European old white dudes. But I think that's a very narrow way of looking at what a classic is. That being said, I did still pick a novel by an old white dude. It's just a science fiction novel. It's by Philip K. Dick, called The Divine Invasion. I've read a few by Philip K. Dick, and he's definitely a science fiction author that I've wanted to read more of his backlog. He wrote the book How to Dream of Electric Sheep. I don't think that's quite right, but it inspired the movie Blade Runner. And I really enjoyed that short story collection, and I've read, I think, a few others of his, but when I did my bookshop tour for my birthday, this is one I picked up at one of the local bookshops, and so now I want to actually like pick it up and read it. I think it will be a very interesting read for me because it has a lot of talk about religiosity, and I'm not sure I quite realized that when I picked it up, although I should have just from the title alone. But I have enjoyed his other work, so we'll see. Hopefully I will enjoy this as well. I think I picked it up just because kind of the irony of the description, and I think I'm going to read it instead of trying to paraphrase it. It says, God is not dead. He has merely been exiled to an extraterrestrial planet, and it is on this planet that God meets Herb Asher, persuades him to help retake Earth from the demonic Belial. Featuring a virtual reality, parallel worlds, and interstellar travel, The Divine Invasion blends philosophy and adventure in a way few authors can achieve. So I'm really excited to see what I think of this as well. The next prompt was a book with a war or a conflict, and I had a really hard time with this because I don't read a lot of historical nonfiction. I'm not really drawn to war, so I kind of went with a conflict. And I'm finally going to reread Crooked Kingdom. Yes, I have read this before, but I started maybe last year. I don't know, when the first season of the show first came out, I started doing reading through the entire series from the beginning because I had only read Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom at that point. And so I have now read the original trilogy, have reread Six of Crows, and have stopped at Crooked Kingdom. So I'm going to pick this up because I hope to continue on with the rest of the series, which I already own, so I should definitely read them. So I know I enjoyed this book, so I'm excited to pick it up again. So that is my TBR for September. Do you see any books that you really want to read, or that have read and already loved? Let me know down in the comments. As always, thank you for liking and subscribing. I'm a really small channel, so anything you do to help with engagement really helps, and I really appreciate it. And as always, keep writing, keep reading, and until next time.